Suzuki is a name that has become legendary in the motorcycle world. But did you know that the company didn't start by making motorcycles? Suzuki began as a loom manufacturer in 1909, helping weave fabrics in Japan. Over the years, it shifted gears to create some of the most iconic motorcycles ever seen. From everyday rides to record-breaking sports bikes like the Hayabusa, Suzuki has shaped the way that we think about motorcycles. Now in this video, we'll explore the history of Suzuki motorcycles, its most famous models, its racing success, and its impact on riders worldwide. So let's dive into how Suzuki, one of motorcycling's biggest names, got its start. Back in 1909, in a small seaside town in Japan called Hamamatsu, Michio Suzuki started a company making weaving looms, machines that create fabric. Now, this company was crushing it in Japan's booming textile industry, and for about 40 years, that's what Suzuki was known for. No one would have guessed that they'd end up making some of the world's coolest motorcycles. Everything changed, though, after World War II. Japan was rebuilding, and people needed affordable ways to get around. Suzuki saw an opportunity and decided to jump into the transportation game. In 1952, they rolled out their first creation, the Power Free. It wasn't exactly a motorcycle, but more like a bicycle with an engine strapped to it. What made it cool was that you could pedal it, use the engine, or do both at the same time. For people trying to get back on their feet after the war, this flexibility was perfect. The Power Free was such a hit that Suzuki went all in and launched their first real motorcycle in 1954, the Koleida. It was small, light, and super reliable, exactly what Japanese riders were looking for. This success led Suzuki to officially change their name to Suzuki Motor Company, showing that they were serious about their new direction. What made Suzuki stand out in those early days was their focus on building motorcycles that were practical, affordable, and wouldn't break down. These principles helped them build trust with riders and set them up to become a major player in the motorcycle world. It's pretty wild to think that a company that started out making weaving machines would end up creating some of the most iconic motorcycles ever. Then, in the 1960s, Suzuki decided to think bigger than just Japan. They wanted to get their bikes into garages all around the world. Their strategy was simple but smart. Build motorcycles that were affordable, reliable, and packed with cool features. And you know what? It worked, especially in Europe and America. Their first big international hit was the T20 Super 6 in the mid-60s. This bike was a game changer. It was light, it had 6 gears, which was a big deal back then, and it could hit speeds over 90 miles an hour. Riders couldn't believe that such a small bike could perform like that. The 1970s brought us the GT750, which American riders nicknamed the Water Buffalo. This was Suzuki's first motorcycle with liquid cooling, which basically means it used liquid coolant instead of just air to keep the engine from overheating. Riders loved it because it was smooth, powerful, and comfortable for long rides. Then came the 1980s, and Suzuki dropped 2 massive bombs on the motorcycle world. First was the Katana, which looked like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. It wasn't there for just show either. It was one of the fastest bikes that you could buy at the time. But the real revolution came in 1985 with the GSX-R 750. This bike changed everything. It was basically a race bike that you could ride on the street legally, and it became the blueprint for modern sports bikes. By making different types of motorcycles for different types of riders, from everyday commuters to speed demons, Suzuki built a reputation that stuck. Today, bikes like the Katana and the GSX-R, they're not just motorcycles, they're part of motorcycling history, showing how Suzuki helped shape the way we ride today. But beyond these amazing models, Suzuki's history cannot be spoken of without a reference to its involvement in bike racing. It all kicked off in 1962 when Suzuki entered the Isle of Man TT. Imagine racing motorcycles on narrow roads through a small island at insane speeds. That's the Isle of Man TT, and Suzuki crushed it, winning several races. These wins showed everyone that Suzuki wasn't messing around. They could build seriously fast bikes that wouldn't break down. The 70s and 80s were where things got really exciting. Barry Sheene, this super cool British rider, became a racing superstar on Suzuki bikes. He snagged 2 world championships in the mid-70s, making him and Suzuki household names. Suzuki also dominated motocross racing during this time. with their RM series becoming the bike of choice for many riders. The RM125 and RM250 were known for their light frames and powerful engines, helping Suzuki secure multiple motocross championships. This success in off-road racing added another dimension to Suzuki's reputation. In the 1990s and 2000s, Suzuki continued to shine in racing, especially in MotoGP, the highest level of motorcycle road racing. Kevin Schwantz, an American racer, became a Suzuki legend, winning the 1993 500cc World Championship. His aggressive riding style and passion for racing inspired fans around the world. Then in 2020, Suzuki made history by winning the MotoGP World Championship with rider Joan Mir. This victory came 20 years after Suzuki's last championship, proving that they still had what it takes to beat the best. But here's the cool part. All this racing wasn't just about winning trophies. Every time Suzuki developed something new for their race bikes, better brakes, smoother aerodynamics, or more powerful engines, that technology eventually made its way to the motorcycles that we can buy and ride on the street. From dirt tracks to high-speed circuits, Suzuki's racing story shows what happens when you never stop pushing the limits of what's possible on two wheels. It's a legacy that still gets motorcycle fans fired up today. Before we go on to talk about what Suzuki is doing today, please like the video and subscribe to learn more about bikes and other vehicles like this. But the 1990s were not the only good time for Suzuki. They went to outdo themselves in 1998 when they dropped the Hayabusa. This bike wasn't just fast, it was insanely fast. We're talking speeds over 186 miles an hour, making it the fastest production motorcycle that you could buy at the time. With its wide design and monster engine, the Hayabusa became an instant legend that speed freaks couldn't get enough of. In the 2000s, Suzuki started thinking bigger than just speed demons. They launched the V-Strom series in 2002 for riders who wanted to explore both highways and dirt roads. Think of the V-Strom as the Swiss Army knife of motorcycles. It could do everything pretty well. Whether you wanted to cruise across the country or tackle some off-road trails, bikes like the V-Strom 650 and 1000 had you covered. The GSX-R series, Suzuki's famous sports bikes, kept getting better too. The GSX-R 1000 packed the latest tech, super light materials, and enough power to make your heart race. These weren't just fast bikes, they were precision machines that could carve through corners like nothing else. In addition to performance, they also started getting serious about being eco-friendly. The company developed cleaner, more fuel-efficient engines to meet global emission standards. Suzuki also embraced new technologies like ABS, or an anti-lock braking system, and traction control to make their motorcycles safer and more accessible to riders of all skill levels. These days, Suzuki makes everything from small scooters for zipping around the city to big cruisers for epic road trips. In 2019, they brought back the Katana with a modern twist. Imagine taking a classic 80s design and giving it today's technology. Pretty sweet, right? You see, what makes Suzuki special is that they build great bikes without charging crazy prices. Whether you're starting out or you've been riding for years, there's a Suzuki that fits your style. They're not just selling motorcycles, they're helping people create memories that'll last a lifetime. From a small company making weaving machines to a worldwide motorcycle powerhouse, that is the Suzuki story. Today, the bikes are everywhere, from city streets to racetracks, and riders love them because they're dependable, packed with cool features, and built for all kinds of riding. Suzuki really made its mark in America in the 60s and 70s with bikes like the T500 Titan and GS series. These weren't just motorcycles, they were game changers that offered serious power without breaking the bank. Later on, they dropped bombs like the GSX-R series and the Hayabusa, which basically rewrote the rules on how fast and awesome a motorcycle could be. Speed freaks, they couldn't get enough of them. Over in Europe, Suzuki's been killing it too, especially in racing. Their success in MotoGP has turned countless people into motorcycle fanatics. The V-Strom series is huge because it's perfect for epic road trips across different countries and terrains, from smooth highways to rough mountain roads. But Suzuki's not just about high-performance bikes. In countries like India and Indonesia, they're helping millions of people get around with bikes like the Access and Gixxer. These machines are affordable, sip fuel like it's expensive coffee, and don't need much maintenance. Exactly what people need for daily commuting. What makes Suzuki special is how they build bikes for everyone, from adrenaline junkies who live for speed to everyday commuters who just need reliable transportation. It's pretty incredible how one company from Japan has managed to touch so many lives across the world. Whether you're racing on a track, cruising to work, or exploring back roads, there's probably a Suzuki out there that's perfect for you. And with that, we've come to the end of our video. What's your favorite Suzuki motorcycle? Let us know in the comments. We hope you learned something new or two. To learn more about recent developments in the automotive world, do subscribe to the channel, and we'd love to see you on our next video.